Welcome back to Desire to Inspire. It's your mama's favorite podcast. Long time no see, talk, pod, dude. This is... feels like I'm going back in time. It's been legit like 2 weeks since we recorded an episode.
Yeah. When you were gone this whole time, I was thinking in my head, like, wow, I kind of miss Dylan. And I like would walk in here and be like, I really miss podcasting.
Should have recorded a solo episode, bro.
I should have. I recorded a lot of solo things.
Solo episodes like of a podcast are hard.
They are.
I've done them before, and like I'm impressed always when I listen to Nick Bears, and they're like 45, 50 minutes. Because I think mine was like 25, and even that felt like a lot.
Yep. Him or Theo Vaughn, when he does his solo, he's funny as fuck. But
he
like,
at least has like stuff being thrown at him, though. Like Nick's literally just sitting at a table, bro, just off top of his head.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a little nervous. My heart's racing a little bit. I don't know what it is, but I don't know why. I got to get
back in the groove.
Yeah. But Nick Bear, when he does his, it's wild how in-depth he can go and feel like comfortable about it. Because I was thinking how like when we do these podcasts, when we talk on here, when we give advice or we tell stories or something like that, in my head, I don't know about yours, but like sometimes I can get in my head like, oh, I need to stop talking. I don't need to elaborate as much. But like that's why people listen to these, to get our view, to get our vantage point, to get the idea or concept around. And it might not make as much sense to them. So not elaborating could actually do the listeners disservice because we're not fully going in depth like we would. Because again, we have this thought process in our head where it's like, oh God, they don't want to hear me keep going about this. But I don't think that's the case. And I think Nick Bear does a really good job of that, of going into the details, even when he's talking about his runs and how bowel movements happen. And you got to make sure you get that initial shit out before you start.
He even says the same thing a few times, like throughout it. But like it's in a different way. So like it is what it is. My thing I'm more in my head about is to slow myself down talking, because I tend to talk really fast. And I feel like people in my life just know. So like they have a better understanding of it. But people I work with and shit like that, even as a child, as a kid was the worst. Like when I read out loud, my teachers they would stop me, make Dylan, you gotta slow down. Like,
See, I couldn't comprehend the words that fast, so I would read really slow.
That's why I'd be reading fast. I didn't like public speaking even back then, dude. I just
I noticed how we talk fast when I have been doing the clips for the longer form podcast. Or
and you see how fast the fucking the thing moves?
Like, God damn, can I put this in slow-mo?
That's why the one you sent me today, I knew when I made that statement that it was, I had already had that thought in my head before I came here. And so I knew you need to slow down here because you want to use this as a clip.
Yeah.
So if I ever noticeably slow down, it's because I know I want this clip.
Damn. All right. I like that. Dude, and I know this is very early and the viewers aren't even going to recognize it yet, but we're going to have a lot more short form content coming out to be able to spread our podcast, because what we don't do right now is we don't do a good job of repurposing our content. And so we just put it out there, we leave it, and that's that. And so we're making it a conscious effort to start breaking down that longer form to be able to get that visibility, that traction in other ways. And being able to go back and actually hear like clips or pull clips from these podcasts, I'm like, bro, we be spitting some facts on here.
I know. And it was harder when we had to do it, when I was doing it like solo, because then I feel like, oh my God, I got to pull multiple clips per person. And like, it is a lot, especially like if you don't, at least with Anchor or whatever the fuck we're using before. I don't even remember. It's definitely not Anchor.
No, definitely ain't.
That's what I use to upload the podcast.
Okay.
That like pushes them all out. But whatever it was, I could mark where we were at because we were on different computers. So like I was constantly sitting there so I could mark it.
What the fuck was that?
Dude, Riverside. And so I could mark where we were, and so I knew to pull. But now it's easy. It would have been easier now anyway because I have to go through and edit the entire podcast start to finish. So then I just do things anyway.
And once we find something to be able to auto that process.
I was actually just thinking about it today. I was literally thinking about this today. I don't think there will ever be a point where I give up the whole long form editing process.
But what if it could just like...
I don't think I would do it.
Really?
Because it's not going to do different things. Like I put in pictures sometimes. I've been like trying to like, if something's going on, like pan to something else or like just different stuff. And this is what actually made me think about it was every major podcast you watch has producers who edit it by hand. If it was really about saving time and money, they would just have AI do it. So I feel like there's something to be said about, at least for the long form, because the clips,
yeah,
easy. Like we just saw very good clips be pulled in a matter of minutes.
Yep.
Whereas this, I feel like it also allows me to like listen back to it and then like get ideas for other stuff that we can do. Or like if like we didn't say a certain thing, or let's just say like something comes out off color and it needs cut out. You know, sometimes that happens.
Which we've never cut anything out except for one thing.
I was gonna say I've definitely cut something out before. I cut it out for my brother's sake, and then I actually told him about it last weekend when we were out for this comedy show.
When you told me that you wanted to cut that out, I was like, dude, Jacob's not gonna give a shit. But I didn't want to get involved.
He told me, dude. He said, he literally said, I never want to meet Freddie because I want to keep up this illusion that I'm a man.
I love it. It was good seeing family back home, being back home.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's always a good time.
When you're going back to the topic we were just talking on, when you go back and you watch these podcasts or you're editing them, or even like seeing old clips, I like to consider it like watching film. Do you ever go back and reread either our news articles that we write, rewatch videos that we post, clips that we post, whatever it is, to kind of see? Or another way to frame this is when you're watching other people's stuff, do you analyze it in the sense of, oh, I can do this better, oh, I can incorporate this to be better? Like, do you ever look at that either from our side or when you're watching other people's content?
I definitely do it when I'm editing because I'm watching the entire podcast from start to finish. And sometimes, like, I have to watch the same part multiple times just because I'm like, actually, that doesn't. And that's another place that I don't know if AI would necessarily pick up on. Sometimes, like, I want the lengths to be different. Mm-hmm. Like how long it's on you. Like if it's on you for like a 3-minute monologue, sometimes like, well, let's cut to the big one, but then I have to watch the big one in the same spot to see, okay, well, like, am I giving a reaction here that is worthy of being on camera, or am I just kind of like playing with my nuts over here?
Yep.
Like, am I readjusting myself because that's got to get cut out? Like sometimes there's a point like where it's both of us, and like one of us will just do something that I'm like, that doesn't necessarily be on there. Let's cut to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So AI, I don't think would have that. Oh, like this is actually me, so let me make sure this is edited as well as I can. But I definitely do with other people's stuff.
Okay.
Which I think has led me to try to slow down and articulate. And I think like there's even been points now, which there 100% has not been in the past, where like I pause and like I think about what I'm gonna say first, because I'm a very just say whatever the fuck's in my head.
Yep.
But like I'll take a second if I think that it's a question that I need to like really go into depth on and make sure like that what I'm saying is actually valuable.
There is a power. How did I hear this before? There's a power in the pause. And so I have a few coworkers that I work with that are extremely good at that.
Especially on sales.
Yeah. And so I'll be talking to one of the coworkers and they will ask my opinion on something. And early on, I would give it and it would be silent. And I'd be like, oh, fuck, they don't like what I had to say. And then I would start talking again. And
that's what they want, though.
Yeah.
They want you to keep talking.
And then I picked up on this, and we've actually talked, like I've talked to them about it because I noticed it, and I liked what they were doing. And so they are very attentive to what they say, and they say it, but then they set back. And so there's even been a couple times on the podcast where I've waited to like answer right away. And I've noticed, and I don't know if it was because of any reason, but I noticed that you started talking again. And I was like, oh shit, I was waiting to like kind of build it up a little bit. Because
it's the same thing. Nobody likes silence.
Yeah.
Like no one wants to sit in silence. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable.
Yep. Very. And so I've been trying to be more aware of that. So that way the meaning behind what I'm saying actually has the points that I want to drive home instead of rambling about it. So it's wild that you bring that up because when I was in, San Antonio a couple weeks, I was actually talking to this person about that. And so they were just telling me the pros and cons of it. And they were like, I do it subconsciously. Is that when you like, you don't have to think about it? Mm-hmm. Like, that's just who they are. That's how they've always been. And they said, and I'm not going to lie, like some people really love it. And some people have hated it that I've worked with and that were above me in leadership levels. But there is something in it because I'm even thinking of like car rides and stuff like that. When you're with people, everybody thinks you got to talk. And then when something finally is like nailed home, but the other person doesn't respond, it's like, oh shit, I better say something. Did they get mad at that or did they this? It's
because most people are listening to respond though. Like they're listening, not actually listening to what you're saying. They're just listening like, what point am I going to make next? Those are the people who jump right in, like, because they already know what they want to say. And they probably didn't listen to the last 50 to 75% of what you were saying anyways.
Yep. It's almost like when you meet somebody and you're like, oh, hey, I'm Fred. Oh, hey, I'm Zach. That Zach goes in one ear, out the other, because you really don't give a fuck what their name is.
At all.
At all.
How you doing today?
Yo.
Don't give a fuck.
Exactly. Ever. So, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely something I think people need to keep top of mind, and I think it would make us all better as humans to actually listen to learn, or whatever the other.
We're going to both start practicing this, and we're just going to sit in silence for like 2 minutes, because we're both like, well, does he want to say something? Does he want to say something?
And then I'm slowly just going to like start meditating or something. It'll be, I don't know. It'll be interesting, because, again, it's something that I have tried to work on like internal calls that we have with the company. But I also kind of played it that way when I was on site in San Antonio with my customer. And I would ask a question and they would talk a little bit, and then I wouldn't say anything back, and then they would give a little bit more. And so it does work, but it's just extremely hard to like be aware of it to try and like correct it or fix it.
I'm really bad about like if I'm on calls with someone I don't really know. Like a phone call, not even a video call. Because in a video call, you can tell if I'm paying attention to you. Like I can nod, or like you can just see that I'm engaged. But if someone's talking on like a phone call and I don't know who they are, I'm good for like giving in like little words, like like just responding.
Yep.
And like sometimes it feels like I cut them off, and I'm like, I was just trying to let you know, like I'm still here, man. I'm listening.
Yep. Speaking of jobs and life and being home with your family, you want to give any life updates, man, or no?
Got another new job. Honestly, wasn't even looking for this job. I was actually approached on this job for probably the first time ever. And at first, like, I thought it was just another bullshit job, kind of reaching out. But it's literally the same industry that I was already in. It's like basically a direct competitor, but I'll have more flexibility and more freedom, I feel like. I think I'll have more responsibility too. Like, it's definitely going to be more work, but I'm being rewarded for the work, so I can't complain.
Yep.
I've been feeling like I'm just working to work. And it's just been like every day I wake up like, fuck, dude, I don't want to do this. Which is partially, I don't even know if we talked about this on air, but I got a second job. So I'm back to serving. And like there, like I don't mind going in there ever. Like I'm never like, fuck, I got to go serve. Yesterday I did, because I had just drove 8 hours back. But like other than that, like I don't mind going in there at all. Like it's the easiest shit. Like I just get to hang out basically. Like I'm walking out with money in my pocket, so it's instant gratification type shit.
Yep.
But this one is definitely going to be more of a longer play. I like to be here for the long term. It's more of a startup. It's definitely not corporate at all, like where I'm at. There's about 4 people on my team as opposed to 150.
Yep. So
it's definitely, I literally, like when I was talking to the dude about it, it feels a lot like kind of how your shit is set up now. Like where it's very smaller. It's in like earlier stages. So I don't know. I haven't started yet. I'm starting in a couple of days, but I'm definitely excited to like see how it goes and what else happens from here. I'm still going to be serving because I feel like now I'm already in it. I might as well just keep going.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, into the...
I'm literally working 7 days a week.
It'll be good.
Sure.
Maybe.
It's definitely made training more difficult. Granted, I've been home, so like it hasn't been as bad.
Yep.
But knowing that I have to basically go from one job to the next is like, damn, like I have to work out in the morning. And then like the long runs, it's like, well, I get to go run 20 miles and then go work tonight. So it's definitely made it a lot tougher, but in the same sense, like it keeps me more disciplined as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a lot too with the training job, because then you're on your feet even more, especially when you want to be sitting down after those 10 plus mile runs that you have to do.
Last 21 we did, I went into work at 5 that night.
Damn.
I had like 40,000 steps that day. Maybe more. Maybe over 50.
That's wild.
It was insane.
Yeah, you did send me a picture. It was over 50.
Yeah, and I burned like 6,000 calories.
Which is crazy because some people don't even hit that in a week, bro.
Dude, it was not. I mean, granted, I ran 20 miles. People don't fucking drive 20 miles in a week. I probably don't drive 20 miles in a week.
Yo, that's facts. I was thinking, and I texted you this because I try and give praise where praise is due. But I feel like, especially because we've gotten to know each other a tremendous amount over the last like couple years, specifically, but I mean even more over the last like 9 years.
Right.
And so I wanted, and I'm gonna give you the kudos online that or on air that I gave you over a text message, but like during this whole process of this change of life that you are going through, everything that you've brought up on these podcasts, we don't need to pinpoint to like anything, but like all areas in life were being affected. There was so much going on. There was so much change happening. And
it's honestly even deeper than you actually know. Like, there's a lot more that, like, I haven't told you.
Well, this might spin, and not to go deeper, but this might spin into, like, how I was viewing it from the outside. Because I was sitting outside and I was talking to the girls. I forget where we were. I think I told you.
You said you were just on the patio.
Yeah, drinking coffee. That's what we were doing. It was in the morning. And I kind of just like replay situations in my head because I've told you and I told you today, like I can sense a different energy about you. Like you seem happier. You seem more like alive. You seem more like there's a purpose behind like, not like life right now in the sense that you were like that low, but like you have a purpose because of the things that are going good. You worked in silence the entire time. I reached out to you a handful of times. Hey bro, how's things going? Checking in on you before the podcast. Like just little things because I know people don't like to be bombarded when they're going through change. And I know we are kind of the type of people that hold it in, or if we do share it, it's with a mom, a dad, which I don't have one of those, a brother, sister, or like a best friend. And so going through what I go through, I know that I don't do a good job of like sharing when things get hard or when I'm like, holy fuck, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me. So I go to my mom and I open up, and you go in the text message. It's funny you say that because my mom and I would say like otherwise or something along those lines.
Yeah, you said something about you didn't bitch about it. And I was like, trust me, I bitched. She was just like internally into my mom.
Yo. And so I wanted to give you the praise, like, good fucking job, first off.
Thanks.
Second off, round of applause for you. Because all of the things that you were going through, you made it a point to not stop. You made it a point to not just complain about it. You took what the situation was and you were like, I got to figure out a fucking solution. And you did that. And so for me, it's very like inspiring and motivational, but like it also showed me other areas of like what it takes to get to it and how important it is to follow through with the things that you tell yourself. And so with me thinking of like everything that you went through and how you've changed it all around and things are going in the trajectory, not saying everything's 100% perfect, right, but like the big things are now becoming small things because you kept putting in the effort. And so one of the things that I told you I wanted to talk today was like self-hate, negative thoughts or negative talk. But not only that, but like lying to yourself. And so what I mean by this and wrapping this all up to expand on is most people say they're going to do something, but then they don't do it. And so subconsciously, they don't think anything's happening. But every single time you tell your brain that you're going to do something and you don't, you're teaching yourself that you're lying to yourself. You're teaching yourself that you can't follow through with anything. You're teaching yourself like, oh, it's just another thing. I'll push it off till tomorrow or next week. And at some point you stop believing in yourself without realizing it. And you didn't let yourself go down that path. So before we go any deeper into that topic, I just wanted to see like what was your motivation or how did you keep the momentum moving forward when there was so many things changing in your life?
My motivation, I mean, ultimately is nobody's going to do this shit for me. No one's going to come pull me out of my situation. No one's going to come pay off my debt. No one's going to come make sure that I'm fucking eating. Because I'll be very real. It got to the point where I was like budgeting out exactly the amount of meals I could eat in a week. Like, to a real bad point. Mm-hmm. And so, like, no one gives a fuck. Like, I don't want to say no one gives a fuck, because that's not necessarily true either. But I'm not the person who is going to ask for help. That's never been me. It's not going to be me. You even offered to help. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to take that away. But that's just not who I am. And so my ultimate motivation is like, no one's coming to save me. I got to make this shit happen for myself. Because from another perspective, if, let's say I did ask for help, the next time I need to ask for help, it's going to be way easier to, instead of like buckle down and do it myself, I'll just ask for help. They helped me last time, they'll help me again. Mm-hmm. And you begin to take it for granted to where now you're that person who can't do anything for themselves, who gets talked about as a freeloader, who it's always, oh, here they come asking for this again or asking for that. And I don't ever want to be that person. I want to be self-sufficient. And if that means that I'm a fucking scrape by and do what I have to do to survive, then that's what it's got to be. So that's probably not the answer for the majority of people. I completely understand that, but that's just kind of how I operate. Is no one's coming to save me. I got to do this shit for myself.
And I think that's the fucking message right there, is because so many people think that there's just going to be this like magic genie that pops out of a bottle to make a situation better, to make a situation easier, to make you get that passion, you get that drive. I think when we go through things as humans, it's obviously easier to sit on the couch, eat the bad meals, go out and drink more, not work out as much, complain, because it's easy. And it's like, oh, people are listening to me, or, oh, this, I can just do this and then I'll get back on track. But there is nobody that's going to come and save you, bro. It doesn't matter like what the situation is in life. Nobody is going to come and be able to pull you out of a situation if you don't want it for yourself. And so looking at that and having that mentality, like one day Jesus himself is not going to walk through here and be like, hey man, you're getting really low, like pick it up. Your dad may walk in and tell you that, but if you don't want to hear that, if you don't want to believe that you can get through whatever mental point you're going through, or whatever hardship you're going through, or whatever challenge you're going through, there's going to be nobody that's going to be able to tell you the right thing.
And a lot of people won't even know. Like a lot of people are so wrapped up in themselves, and that's like where as a society I think we fuck up, is that we feel like everyone cares about what's going on in our life and everyone's paying attention to me and how I'm struggling and this and that. They don't give a fuck. Everyone has their own struggles and they're focused on that. They don't know when you're in a dark place unless it's blatantly obvious and you're telling the world. If you're going about your day-to-day still getting shit done, no one knows when you're in a bad spot. So they're definitely not going to come pick you up out of it.
Yep. And that dark spot, like most people don't share when that's actually happening. And so you'll hear most people, and even myself, like I'm one of those people where like, oh, you didn't know I was going through X, Y, and Z. But like, I don't think that needs to be shared with everybody. Like nobody always needs to know like you're going through something, because
Me either.
Life is going to be a challenge. Life is going to be hard. And what I have learned through life, going through what I think most 29-year-olds don't go through, or all these situations that I've been in. And I'm not saying that I've had the hardest life. I have not by any means.
Right.
But there's been big key things that have happened throughout my life that could have definitely derailed me to go a certain way. But through all of those things, what I've realized is that not stopping, not expecting that somebody's going to come and save me, not expecting that somebody needs to ask me. Like, I don't expect anything from anybody, because I know during those times that it wouldn't have mattered what they said. It wouldn't have mattered how they reached out. It wouldn't have mattered anything until I finally got the grips with it and been like, fuck, I don't want to live like this no more. And so I had that mentality to be able to push through it. You had that mentality to push through it. The people listening have that mentality to push through it in their own ways. But sometimes it takes a little bit more self-love and discipline, where when you are in that funk, when you are going through that struggle, you don't make the excuses. There is no time that you can just rest during the dark period. You have to get up on the hard days. You have to keep pushing, and you have to keep the mentality going of this will get easier, this will get easier, because all of the negative talk, all of the negative thoughts going on in your head will keep attracting that. And the only way to push through it is getting out of your own head, getting out of your own environment, to be able to just breathe for a second, whether that's going for a walk, going to the gym, eating something healthy. Like there's so many different things, taking your dog out, that can get the thoughts off of your mind, because you're actively doing something else. Does that make sense? Yeah.
It's impossible not to have negative thoughts, though. No one's saying that we never think negatively, because that's a bold-faced lie.
Mm-hmm.
What we are saying is that when you do vocalize it, you're going to attract it. And that is why I'm not one to bitch or complain. There's people out there who will tell everyone in their life, everyone on Facebook, everyone that they cross, every little thing that's gone wrong for them in the past 6 months. You should be able to speak to people. You should have 1 or 2, 3 people who you can confide in. But not everyone needs to know, because the more people that you tell, that's more negative energy that you're putting out. And the more you complain about it, the less you're going to want to work to get out of it. And then it just compounds and compounds until you're so deep in this fucking hole that there's no getting out of it. You've already dug yourself in. You've already told people this is how I am. Dude, I see this all the time online. Like people I personally know from the past post everything on Facebook, man. And it's like, you do this every single day. If you put the same amount of energy that you put into bitching, into bettering your situation, I guarantee you would not be there in 3 months.
Yep. If you just start today, and little things, and I think it boils down to like you have a really good routine. You have really good habits built in place. But it's very easy when you go through, and just using you because I was giving you kudos on like accomplishing all you have in this short time period. But like you have good habits, patterns, daily things that you do to keep that some momentum going in the right direction when times get hard, that those little things compound in each other to then be able to make the ripple effect that you want to break through that time period to get to that next chapter or journey or part of life that you're going to go through.
That's also something that helps me push forward, though. I know doing these things has made me feel better in the past when I was in a dark place. So why, when things are getting rough, would I let those go as well?
Most people do.
100%. And not to say that they made it better, but they made it bearable.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I think that topic of just like, and wrapping this point up, the topic of not lying to yourself and actually following through with the things you say you're going to do. If it's a new job and you say, all right, I'm going to apply to 10 jobs starting today, apply to those 10 fucking jobs until you lock one in. If it's, I want to lose weight, okay, start with the little things first, or cleaning up the diet a little bit where you're cooking at home more. Do that every single day. And just realize that like it's going to take weeks, months, and years to actually get these habits and things in place to sustain a lifestyle that you want to live. Sustain a lifestyle that, yeah, I got myself in a slump. I don't want to go through that anymore. So I'm going to change these things. But making sure that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. So that way you actually start believing in yourself and you start seeing those results. Because again, results don't just come overnight. It takes work compounding on each other daily, weekly, and then monthly to actually see those results you want. But like we've talked about before, whether it's 75 hard, if it's DTI 50, if you change those things in your life, or if you change something in your life for that 2-3 months, you will see a drastic difference. But it's just on you to keep that momentum going throughout the rest of the year, and don't fall back to those old habits that got you in the place you don't want to be.
Yeah. So to kind of not necessarily stay on the lying to yourself thing, but what was the other part of it that you had said? Oh, when you tell yourself you're going to do something you don't. Because that's not necessarily a lie. I think it's more just a lack of commitment. But what that does is that it destroys your confidence. And I think that that's the most key part of it, is if you're not confident in yourself and what you're going to do, you're not going to be confident in anything in life. And so then you're just going to get into even darker of a place. It just... I don't know. I think most of these things come down to confidence. You don't want to go to the gym because you're not confident that you can do this. You don't want to start this diet because you're not confident that you'll stick to it. And it's all a fucking repeating cycle.
Yep.
Everything in your life comes down to confidence. And most people, whether they believe they have it or not, don't actually have the confidence. Even like when I'm in a dark place, I have the confidence that I can get out. I have the confidence that I can do this job. I have the confidence that I can go do something else. And I actually think now that I'm kind of like psychoanalyzing myself, that the times when I'm actually down are probably the times when I do set these loftier goals. Like every marathon I've ran is in a darker period. Maybe not the BPN one so much, but that one was more like I just wanted to be a part of the community. It wasn't even necessarily that I had wanted to run a marathon at that point. It was just I wanted to go like be around them. But like the other two, this one and the last one, was big cycles of change for me. And even like saying that I was going to do the 30 for 30 was more like coming out of like this period of change where I was like, okay, like now I need something to focus on. I need something to work towards, because if I can't control everything else in my life, I know I can control this. And I think that's what it comes down to, is a sense of confidence and a sense of control, because everything else is just all over the place.
How do you think you gain that confidence? Like for somebody that doesn't have that right now, or somebody that's trying to make that change or trying to start that path forward in a direction that is unknown, what would be your advice to just somewhere to start for them?
Just do things. Whatever it is like that you lack confidence in, do it. You don't have to do, you should do it every day, but like you don't have to do it nonstop. If you lack confidence in talking to people, go talk to somebody. What's the worst thing that's going to happen realistically? They're an asshole to you? Okay. You didn't know them beforehand. You can just walk away.
Yep.
Like it's not as scary, and I get it. Like people have social anxiety. I actually have pretty bad social anxiety, which from the outside looking in probably doesn't make sense. But like if I'm not drinking at an event, I'm going to be way more closed off. Like noticeably closed off.
Yep. I would say same.
Yeah, I'm just not that guy like who wants to like. If I kind of know people there, like if I semi know someone, or if I even know a couple people, like if we were at an event where you had mutual friends there, but I didn't know them, I can be cool with someone's mutual friends.
Yeah.
But I'm not the guy who's gonna go infiltrate a group.
No.
Oh, it wasn't you. It was me and Justin went to Sycamore. Maybe my first weekend or second weekend here. A guy came up, sat down with me and Justin, introduced himself, just was talking. He says, "All right, guys, I'm gonna go hang out." Was there by himself, walked up to another group of like 5 people, sat down, started talking to them. I was like, how do you have this level? Even on alcohol, I don't have that level of confidence.
See, that's the thing, man. And like you were saying, like most people aren't going to be assholes. And like if you go up to that table and you start talking to them and they're like giving you a weird vibe, then it's what he did. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Just want to come over and say hi.
Yeah. He was there for like 5-10 minutes, so it wasn't like a weird vibe. He was just hanging out.
That's crazy. I could never do that. Some people have that. Like my boy Brandon back in Dallas. I don't know if he has it to that level, but like he's got that confidence where he can just go up and talk to anybody, and it would mortify me, bro. He's like, come with me, come with me. I would stay off in a distance, like talking to other people until I saw that they were vibing. He's like, come over. And so I'd go over there and it was fine. But like, there is no way in fucking hell you would catch me doing that.
I don't even think that you necessarily need to do the thing you lack confidence in, though. I think you just need to do challenging things or things that scare you. Mm-hmm. Like just do something hard. And hard is a relative term, so I'm not even going to try to tell you what that is. But something that you perceive as difficult, do it. You're going to suck at it the first time, but you suck at everything the first time you do it.
Yep.
Whatever your job is out there, you probably weren't just naturally good at it. You worked at it, or you started it young when you didn't have this lack of confidence. But even from there, you worked at it. You put in the reps, you put in the time, and you built the confidence to be able to do it. It's the same with everything. None of it is any different than anything else. Mm-hmm. It's all just doing challenging things, sucking, failing, getting better, failing again, until you figure this shit out.
Failure needs to be like a term of satisfaction, a term of happiness, a term of, because there's so much good that comes out of failing, bro. But there's this negative connotation about that, like it's awful. But there is so much good that comes from it unless you get stuck at the word fail and you can't see past what it's actually teaching you and the lessons that you're learning from it.
I think it comes from education. You fail a test, you fail a class, it's all bad.
Yeah.
But anything else you fail, it's like, okay, there's a lot more lessons to be learned in failing in the real world, in life, at something. All right, here's where I'll be. I'm at the point now in marathon prep. That's weird. Never seen that happen before. I'm at the point in this marathon prep where I'm really starting to visualize it. So like on these longer runs, I'm really visualizing, okay, this is how I'm going to feel at this mile. And my easier runs have been getting a lot faster, which is super weird for me to see. Mm-hmm. But I'm at the point where like I'm visualizing myself crossing the finish line in under 3.5 hours. And like I can see it. I'm trying to envision like what that feels like how I'm going to feel about it, everything. Mm-hmm. Because realistically, the time that I set for my last marathon was 3.5 hours. That was my goal. I didn't publicize the goal, but that was the goal. And in that marathon, I ran a 3:50, low 50s. I know where I failed. I know where I fucked up. I know all of these things. And I would not have known that had I not failed at it. If I had went out and ran a 3:30 that day, I'd be like, all right, cool. Whatever I did must have worked. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot more data to go off of having failed an attempt than I would have had I succeeded. Because had I succeeded, I'd probably be going for 3 hours, which is an insane change of pace.
Yeah.
Like it's a totally different amount of work. It's a totally different amount of focus. And it's not even comparable. Like it's literally not even the same thing.
Yep.
But having failed now, like I know the things that I need to start doing now. Like there's literally things I need to start doing now. Which is, we don't even need to go into it. But there's things that I know that I fucked up at or that I let slip that are starting to get dialed in.
Yep. Yeah, it's I think it goes back to that point that you make about, or you made the last thing you were talking about is those repetitions and the reps that you put in. Dude, I am realizing it is all about repetition, and then tying it back to that point of like learning, developing, and growing. So you're learning through what you did before, but you're constantly putting those reps in to get better. And like you said, you're going to start putting more reps in right now, so that way you can achieve whatever new goal you have for this marathon. But I think in life, that's how we have to view everything. Everyone's like, well, how'd you get started in the gym? How did you get started eating healthy? How did you get started building a company? How did you get started getting a new job? Like whatever that stuff is, dude, it is all repetition. Everything in life is repetition. And I think I'm just now realizing what playing sports did for me in terms of understanding repetition and what it takes. Because you think about it and you join a new baseball, basketball, football team. You guys first get together. The chemistry is not there. You guys are learning each other. You guys haven't played together, but you put in the reps daily. You go to practice every single fucking day to put in the time, to put in the effort, to understand and be able to work as a team. And so after game one, you're like, oh shit, we got to go back and we got to tailor this. Okay, game two comes, you guys win, but it's like, we got to go and tailor this. And now you're working towards an overall thing, a goal. So the state championships or whatever, you want to get there, or you want to win your division. You start building on those, but those repetitions that you're doing week in and week out, week in and week out, are all compounding so you can get to that next level. So that way you can get to that next status that you want to, or get to that next height that you want to of the mountain. It is the same thing with our mental and physical health. Going to the gym, doing that daily, running a marathon, like, bro, putting in these reps, I could have easily stopped, but I'm very proud of myself that I have not stopped, but I've been putting in the reps. But not only that, I'm learning as I'm doing it on how important stretching is, on how important exercises are, to constantly put in those reps. And like you just said, how your longer days are like your easier days. Dude, when I did that 9 miles, after I finished, I felt like, what is going on? I felt like I was like a kid on top of a
I thought I was
candy
having
mountain.
a stroke. Like, because I could barely see it on my peripherals. I just thought it was fucking going crazy.
I must need to charge them.
And I'm not saying my long days are my easier days. My easy runs are just getting faster.
Okay, yeah, that's what I meant. I thought
So
you
like
said
my
that.
9 was getting faster. My 12 was faster.
Yep. But no, it boils down to the repetitions and the things that we do constantly to be able to get good at something. Because again, anything hard in life, there's a reason it's hard. It's because our bodies aren't familiar with it. Our bodies don't know what to do. And so it's going to be hard in the beginning, but anything that is hard becomes easy the more you do it. Anything. And I think we forget that concept. I think that the concept of hard we have nowadays is like quit. Oh, this is hard, I'm not going to do it. Oh, this doesn't come natural or easy, I'm not going to do it. And I feel like that's why we as humans get in these weird funks or places, because it gets uncomfortable. And when life gets uncomfortable, it's easier to take the short road or the easy route of not doing something about it, instead of just putting those reps in daily to be like, oh, fuck, this was once hard, but now it's easy. It's the same thing with cold plunge, bro. That thing was so fucking hard for me to get into in the beginning. And after a month, I was like, oh, fuck, this is a breeze. And then you take somebody new there and they're like, holy fuck, that was so cold.
I haven't done one in so long.
Huh?
I haven't done one in a long time.
I miss going there, man. I got to sign up for the one at my gym.
I was going to say, don't you have it at your gym?
Yeah, I do. I just haven't done it or like signed up for it. But it's that the sauna was hard in the beginning, but then the sauna got easier the more I did it. Like all of these things become so fucking easy with repetition. Your job was once hard, like you said in the beginning, but the repetitions made you learn it, grow, develop, and now you're like, oh, I can teach anybody it. It is the same thing with any concept in life, bro. Any concept. The more reps you put in, the easier it's going to get, the more you're going to enjoy it or hate it. But at least you know like what to do, what to expect, and how to like keep moving forward from it.
Okay, so you just said that when you finished your 9 miles, you were feeling good.
Yes.
So you're starting to like running?
I wouldn't say I'm starting to like it. I know that I'm trying to achieve something right now, and that's crossing the finish line at a half marathon. Yeah. I don't think that I'll become a runner, though. Like,
did you listen to Nick's podcast with Mark Bell?
Yes.
Where he talked about how he didn't understand it until he was a year in.
Yeah.
I was like...
Yep. So it could change. But again, I'm doing the things needed for me to be able to enjoy it right now. Do I love it? No. Do I like it? I don't even like it. But I'm doing it right now because I know that I've committed to something.
There's days I don't like it.
Yeah, it's honestly one of the dumbest physical activities I think out there. But again, I'm sticking to it. I'm keeping a positive mindset. Clip that for tone.
It has benefits.
It does.
I think it has more mental benefits than anything, honestly.
I've been
running. And not even from like breaking through a barrier, because I think it has that too. But I think like just like like lifts, especially like running outside, because that's doing multiple things at once.
Yep. I've been doing it without the headphones, like I brought up a couple podcasts ago after you brought it up, and I'm starting to really like that, bro. Just taking in the scenery and the things around me.
I should have today, but I expected to go longer. But I definitely could have done it today.
Yep.
I haven't done it in a while, actually, because I've been running by myself. Like with Tone, I really don't listen to anything because we're bullshitting most of the time.
Yeah. When we started, it was like 7 or 6 a couple weekends ago. We were going, and when I was talking, I was like, and then I noticed that Tone got quieter, and I don't know if he did this because like he knows he did.
I can tell you already. Like he knew that you were dying, so he stopped talking.
Yeah,
100%.
And then I finally got shit under control, and then we talked for like the majority of the rest of the run.
And we didn't have this conversation, but I just know that he definitely did it on purpose.
I was like taking 5 minutes to say like 2 sentences versus in the beginning where we're just like casually talking.
Yeah.
So I definitely caught myself. The heart rate went down because we were doing an easy pace and everything, and then it was easier to talk and more natural. But I'm excited for this weekend. I have 10 this weekend, which will now be the furthest that I'll ever have ran.
Is that your peak for the prep?
No, I think we go all the way up to 12.
Oh, shit. That's weird.
Yeah. Fucking Alex, I'm going to have to talk to that guy.
That's such an old plan. It's from like 5 years ago.
Yeah. He sent me one about 5 years ago, so I'll be happy that I finally...
That's when I ran my first one. That's
accomplished
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
So we'll see. I think doing hard things like Nick Bear always talks about is actually a big key in life in terms of what direction you want to go, or like even just challenging yourself to do something you don't think is possible. Because I feel like the older we get, the more reserved we get. So we don't ever have that thrill of trying to accomplish something that we don't think we can do.
That's what I never want to lose.
Yep.
That's the main reason I do shit. Just because I don't want to fucking lose that. What are you living for?
Yeah. After I went skydiving, I was like, I will always do something that challenges me or makes me scared. Because like the Spartan race, crossing that finish line, dude, so fucking gratifying, like rewarding.
You were ready to become a professional Spartan that day, bro. You were like, I'm fucking running these all the time.
I still would do those.
I'm doing a trifecta this year.
I literally told Matt that I would sign up for those in a heartbeat. I loved that so much.
I liked it, but I don't think I'll ever do another one.
Yeah, I will.
Unless it was like a group event, and then I like have no choice.
Yeah.
But I was just,
Yep. We were talking about your medals in your bathroom as well. And Matt was just saying how much he liked those. And I was like, yeah, it's cool. You wake up every day and like see.
I didn't want to put them in there. Justin, my dad, convinced me to put them in there because I didn't know where else to put them.
Yeah, I think they're dope. I think they're really dope. But I think like the general purpose of all of this is just like stay true to what you tell yourself. Stay true to the things that you want to accomplish and achieve. And like through hard times, make sure that you keep the repetitions going. You keep the patterns in place because they help you achieve those things that you now get to look at behind you daily. And to you, it might just be like, oh yeah, there are medals up there. But like to somebody strives for that. Somebody strives to be able to complete a 5K, to complete a half marathon, to complete a marathon, a Spartan race. Like all of that stuff is motivation to somebody. You are just now that face of it, and it seems natural or not as big of a accomplishment.
Damn, I'm the face of it.
Because you've done it. You're the face of something.
Hey. Yeah, you've been too nice to me this episode. That was necessary.
Yeah, definitely. But in case you guys want to support, represent the brand, I wanted to bring these back into the picture because I don't feel like we talk about these enough.
We never do.
Never do.
I mean, I don't think they've ever missed an episode.
In terms of being in them?
Yeah, they're always visible.
Yeah, we always have them. But white ones, Dylan has a white one with a black lid, but we also have black and white ones. And yeah, buy your fucking blender bottles, support us, make the brand get out there more. If you buy them, there will be a special something inside of there that will hopefully lead you to the next step. So with that being said, I think next week when we record, I'm going to have a surprise for you. But I have to see if it comes in the mail first. So
okay. I also want to try these new beers next week.
They're in the fridge.
I know, I saw them.
Yes. We got more different flavors, as we told you guys, of the beers. But at the time we're recording this, some would say it's not acceptable.
It's not
Others
alcoholic.
would say it's acceptable.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
That is a fact. So stay true to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. I know Dylan doesn't like to classify it as that, but in my head, it's...
No, I think I still classify people lie to themselves. I was just putting it as two different things.
Okay.
I was setting them as two different things.
So if you say you're going to do something, do it, and that will help you get on track and stay on track to the goals and objectives that you have in life. But always remember that there's always a new day. Just stop fucking waiting. Start putting in the effort. Start putting in the reps right now, so that way it gets easier sooner. And that's all I got to say. Kiss your mama's forehead. It's on.
Peace.